Welcome to PC Woods Kids Tech Talk. Today we're doing a battle between the EVGA RTX 3060 Ti and this RTX 2080 Super that I have on this machine. Now, a couple things that I like to compare right off the bat before we start the actual battle here. This is the latest graphics card released last month, December of 2020. The EVGA RTX 3060 Ti XC edition, you can see right there. It's a nice little compact card using the second generation of RT cores and third generation of Tensor cores compared to the 2080 Super that I'm going to also benchmark this against. You can see there what stands out to me. Obviously, the fact that it uses PCI Express Gen 4 is another bonus, another plus, which the 2080 Super does not. It uses Gen 3. Also, of course, support for the latest technologies and the latest ray tracing, RTX 2.0. I love it. So we're going to see some boosts in performance on this tiny little card. You can see there, it doesn't look necessarily big. It's only 2 fans versus the Super, which has 3 fans. You can see also it's just 2 slots in width on this little guy. So it's not 2.5, it's just 2. 8-pin power connector. Obviously, this is using the 8 nanometer architecture on that GPU, so versus the 12 nanometer architecture on the 2080. So right off the bat, we're going to get benefits there on the throughput as well. Even though they're both 256-bit cards, they're going to provide basically the same capabilities. You can see there, it's got 3 display ports and 1 HDMI. EVGA hasn't really changed the cooling technique there. You can see the 6 copper heat pipes going through and the aluminum fins there, so lots of holes. And well, I like the back plate. That's a nice little addition. Nice strong rigidity to the card. Also, I like the looks of the honeycomb going on there. That's pretty nice. Actually, it's pretty cool for a nice little card like this. It's like a small little beast that they've put together. I really like this card so far as it stands compared to that 2080 Super, which I reviewed not too long ago. If you haven't seen that review, I'll add the link below. Comparing the specs, though, I mean, like I said, 8 nanometer technology, lots of transistors packed in there compared to the 2080, and you're going to get faster throughput with the latest support for technology. You can see there the differences. I've highlighted them. Yes, the 2080 does have faster memory, I guess you could say that. The memory is a little bit faster, but at the end of the day, let's just see if it really makes a difference, right? Sure, the megahertz are a little bit higher, but the boost, kicks in on that 3060 Ti, and I tell you, there's a huge difference when that boost comes in. And also, for the amount of work that both cards are going to do, the 3060 Ti doesn't break the same type of sweat necessarily that the 2080 Super does. 11 watts on idle on the 3060 Ti versus 20 watts on idle for the 2080. Okay, so let the battle begin. Let's just start, tallying up a score here as we go along here. So the V-Ray does the RTX scene rendering. 1464 is what I got with the 3060 Ti. 884. Right off the bat, you're going to see, yes, there's better support for RTX, as you would expect. On the GPU CUDA performance score, again, same deal. Performance increases. We sure better see a difference there. So definitely 2 points there for that one right off the bat with those benchmarks. Now 3D benchmark, more conventional old school benchmarks, I'm going to use it. 11646 on that graphics score, which is what I'm concentrating on, and 11727 on that 2080 Super. So the 3D mark seems to favor that on those. So we're going to give that mark to them. And 6855 on the Port Royal RTX rendering, and 7118 for the 2080 Super. So I'm going to give the score to the 2080 on the 3D Mark benchmarks. There you go. Now, each benchmark changes, right? The OpenCL Lux Ball gave me 45,000, the score there for the 3060 Ti versus 30,000 for the 2080 Super. So rendering this Lux Ball HDR, wow. The 3060 Ti pulled ahead like crazy, showing its strength. So another point score there for the EVGA 3060 Ti. Going on here to Super position. Again, another type of rendering engine, but I'm doing 4K optimized this time. 9468 is what I got, and 9643. So, Jesus, these are very, very close results. I mean, who do you give the score to? I mean, even if it's just a few points, it's almost like it's the same, but it's hard to tell. Now, another test that I'm going to do here is going to be the performance test 9.0. You can see there the scores are very, very close between both graphics cards. Again, it's very hard to tell the difference, but even if the score is slightly higher, I'm going to give it to who it deserves. Now, Borderlands 3, 2K Ultra Graphic, high settings, of course, everything full blown, no holds bar when I'm playing these games. We're going to see the performance and the temperatures. Of course, I'm logging that as we play so I can compare those. I'm going to give those later on in the video so you can see that. Very smooth, very hard to tell sometimes. Obviously, between these graphics cards, you're not going to tell the difference too much depending on the game and what you're doing. So in this case, it's dead on even. Okay, now I did download the latest update for the Call of Duty Warzone, so I did some online gaming there. Again, 105 frames per second. The average frame time, though, 10 milliseconds. So the frame time counts. I'm keeping track of that as well, because if you get a faster frame time, that makes a little bit of a difference. In this case, the only difference was faster frames per second. Again, the score goes to 3060 Ti. They won on this one, but very, very hard to tell, you know, just by playing. Now, Fortnite, I downloaded the high-res texture pack, you know, enabled everything, RTX, epic settings. You can see there that the results are practically the same, very close to the results that I got there on the 2080 Ti, except for the frame time. Frame time was faster, so I give that score to the 3060 Ti on that one. On Anthem, again, this game, beautiful graphics, the lighting effects, everything. I thought I tested on this one as well. And, you know, again, the frames per second were higher for this older game with the 2080. Perhaps they haven't updated the game and the drivers aren't optimized for the 3060 Ti, but either way, you know, it's a very close call. Battlefield 5 RTX on, playing on ultra settings. Again, everything on 2K resolution. You can see here how beautiful it looks. 80 frames per second, frame time 12 milliseconds. Again, I'm always looking to see if it's slightly faster, but in this case, the average frame time on the 2080 Super is practically the same. So I'm really only looking at the frames per second, and, you know, 1 or 2 frames per second difference. You're not going to be able to tell, but I'm still going to keep tally of that score and give it to whoever gets the highest overall frames per second, for example. So on Far Cry 5, in here, I've got everything enabled all the way up to the highest settings, of course. You can see the average frames per second is 97 frames per second on this one, with a minimum of 75. This one here was a minimum of 74, and average was 96. So very, very little difference, but again, the 3060 Ti did get a little bit better, so I'm giving the score to them. But the two main things is power and temperatures. You can see that these two things are really pulling ahead when it comes to the 2080 Super, which was 3 fans, huge heatsink, huge power usage, and the fans weren't necessarily running, I would say, as optimized as they should, but I like how the 3060 Ti seems to have tweaked things and run much smoother and cooler and quieter, which is what you want. Especially the price. I mean, look at the price difference between the 2080, which is about $300 in price difference. Is it worth $300 if you're going to actually get better performance with the 3060 Ti overall? Yes, you betcha. So the EVGA RTX 3060 Ti XC is definitely the winner here, hands down, not just because of the price, power, performance. It's just overall. I mean, that you can see where technology is going. You don't have to have a huge card to get huge performance. Comment below, let me know what you think. I'll be reviewing this card again later on in a different, newer system with PCI Express 4.0 and the latest drivers of 2021, so stay tuned for that. Comment below, let me know what you think, and again, thank you for watching.